Let's talk about product research. For a long time, you've had the Titan, UserTesting, and now there's this new AI-powered challenger, Atypica. But you know what? This isn't really a showdown to pick a winner. It's about building a much smarter playbook for your product team by using both of them to create something way better.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we're going to pinpoint a critical gap in how research usually gets done. Then we'll look at each of these tools, compare them head to head, and then, this is the best part, we'll lay out a new hybrid workflow that could totally change how you build products. Let's dive in. All right, let's kick things off with a problem that, well, I'm willing to bet every single product team out there has felt this pain.
This is the question that keeps product managers up at night, right? You've got this backlog of a dozen really promising ideas, but you've only got the time and the budget to build out maybe one or two. So what happens to all the rest? And this, right here, is the culprit, what we call the prototype bottleneck. See, traditional research demands that you build something real, something clickable, before you can get any feedback. And that process is slow, it's super expensive, and honestly, it means tons of potentially amazing ideas just wither on the vine because that barrier to even test them is just way too high.
So let's talk about the tool that has defined this solution for years, the one everybody knows, user testing.
I mean, just look at these numbers for a second. Over 3,000 enterprise clients, including, get this, 75 of the Fortune 100. That is some serious credibility. But you gotta ask, credible for doing what exactly? Their bread and butter is usability testing. This is where you literally watch real people try to use your product. It's all about observing their actual behaviors to see where they get tripped up, where things click, and if the thing you've already built actually works the way you hoped it would.
And you just can't argue with its strengths. You get to see authentic, messy, real human reactions. You can validate your visual design. You can test on a phone, on a desktop. But the real gold? It's those unexpected aha moments, the problems you never even thought of. And let's be real, nothing convinces stakeholders like a video clip of a real person getting completely lost trying to check out.
Okay, now let's switch gears and talk about Atypica. It's so important to get this. Atypica is not trying to be a user testing killer. It's designed to fill that pre-prototype gap we were just talking about, with a capability that's brand new.
So Atypica's whole method is AI-powered conversational research. Instead of watching someone click around on a prototype, you're having these really deep, multi-turn dialogues with AI personas. These are simulated users built from massive data sets, and they help you understand the why behind an idea, uncovering motivations and fears before you've even opened a design file.
This approach gives it a totally unique set of advantages. You can test ideas that are literally just a sentence. You can iterate on those ideas in a matter of hours, and you can do it all at a cost that makes it totally realistic to test 10 ideas instead of just one. It's a whole different ballgame.
And this slide right here is where the game completely changes. Look at that difference in speed. A typical user testing study might take you 4 to 8 days from start to finish. With Atypica, you're getting insights in hours. That's the difference between doing 1 iteration per sprint and doing 5 or even 10. All right, so let's put them side by side. We're going to compare them on the 3 things that every single product team cares about: speed, cost, and the kind of data you actually get out of it.
So at a really high level, the differences couldn't be clearer. User testing is for usability, and it requires a working prototype and real human beings. Atypica is for conversational research. It starts with just a text concept, and it uses AI personas. This one fundamental split changes, well, everything.
So yeah, that speed gap again. It's just massive. A 4 to 8 day cycle with user testing is a major event in a sprint. An atypical cycle is measured in hours. You can literally have an idea in your morning meeting, test it, and have the results back before you head home for the day.
Now the cost models, this is another huge difference. User testing is usually a per-test model, which forces you to be really selective. Testing 5 ideas costs 5 times as much. Atypica, on the other hand, is a flat-rate subscription. You can test 5, 10, 20 ideas, and it costs the exact same. This completely changes the economics of innovation and encourages you to explore.
And that brings us to maybe the best way to think about all of this, perfectly summed up in this quote. AI personas are the compass for exploration, real users are the GPS for execution. It hits the nail on the head, right? The compass points you in the right general direction before you start your journey. The GPS gives you the precise turn-by-turn directions once you're already on the road. You need both.
So you can see the crucial point here is that this isn't an either-or situation. The real power, the real magic, happens when you stop thinking versus and start thinking and, using these tools together in a modern research workflow. So here's what that playbook actually looks like. Step 1. You start with atypica. You throw, say, 10 different text-based ideas at it, and quickly find the top 1 or 2 that really have legs. Step 2. Then, and only then, do you spend your precious design and dev time building prototypes for those validated winners. And finally, step 3. You take that beautiful prototype and run it through user testing to get that real human feedback and iron out all the final usability kinks.
So, to be crystal clear, when do you pull out the GPS, user testing? You use it when you actually have a prototype built, when the visual design is critical, when you're hunting for those unexpected bugs, and when you need that rock-solid, high-stakes confidence right before a big launch. It's for validating the execution.
And when do you use the compass at Atypica? You use it at the very, very beginning, when you're just validating a concept, before any development, when you need to iterate at lightning speed within a single sprint, when you need to understand deep user motivations, and when you've got to narrow a huge list of ideas down to just a couple of winners.
Okay, let's just zoom out for a second. Because this hybrid approach we're talking about, it's not just about using 2 cool new tools. It really represents a fundamental shift in how great products get made.
You see, the old workflow was linear and super risky. You build, and then you test. You'd sink all this time and money into building something before you even knew if the core idea was any good. The new workflow flips that completely. It's test, then build, then test again. You test the concept first with atypica, you build the winning idea, and then you test the usability with user testing. You de-risk the entire process from the start.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about for your own team. How many winning ideas are just sitting in your backlog right now, collecting dust, simply because the cost and time to build a prototype for every single one of them has just always been too high? This new playbook, it might just be the way you finally find out.